Welcome to the Passion Professors Podcast, hosted by Earth.University, where stories of life experiences and purpose inspire and unite humanity. Here's your host, Lindsay Andreotti.
All right, everybody, welcome to the Passion Professors Podcast. I'm Lindsay Andreotti, your host from Earth.University, and I have with me today this wonderful gentleman who I've known for quite some time now to be one of the most heartfelt, inspiring, and creative human beings I've ever met in my life. And he can carry on a conversation about everything, which is why we have struggled with, what should we talk about on your podcast today, Brian Ray? And we finally came up with a plan. Brian is masterful at coming up with his own values and living them on a day-to-day, week-by-week, month-by-month basis. And when something shifts in his life, he starts to look at his values and says, hey, what's going on right there? What did I just do? So I have with me today Brian Ray, who currently resides in Seattle, Washington, and he's the co-founder of Seattle Home Partners with his wife. And they are working on some really amazing things for senior home partners. Actually, I said it wrong. Senior home partners. So you got to get this
in
right.
Seattle.
In Seattle. Hey, this is why we have fun over here. But today I want to talk to Brian about his passion for authenticity and effectiveness. Brian, welcome. You are a passion professor.
Well, with an introduction like that, I mean, I can only fail, right?
Yeah, right? You're the best. No, you're just being authentic.
So here we go.
And what I love about what we're going to talk about is that I know of anyone I know on this planet, you will be real. Like you're just being who you are. And that's what I truly love. And it's what we espouse at Earth.University is the best possible thing you can do while you're here learning about yourself every single day. So tell us a little bit about, I don't know, whether you want to talk about values or just dive into authenticity. Which way do you want to go? You tell me what would be fun to talk
I'll tell you what's most present in my brain right now is I have a great microphone that I'm not using, and I probably should turn it on. But it's going to take me like 3 minutes to get this thing ready. Is that okay, or do you not care?
Well, your sound is actually really good. So I say stay with it. You actually sound really good. But I love how that happens. See how that just in the moment, that's real. That's like calling it like it is. But you do sound good. So my audio engineer, he may call me later and say, what was that? But this is what makes it fun. You know, people doing what they do and nothing is perfect. That's kind of the way it works. And there's authenticity and then there's effectiveness, which are the two words that you want to talk about. This is effective. And I think it's effective for other people to listen to it, that perfection isn't always effective.
That's a very great point. I mean, what comes up for me when you say that is the only way I ever feel like I can be authentic is to say what is there. Is just to literally get out and acknowledge what's going on for me so that, there's like full transparency here. I'm already feeling self-conscious.
Oh, that's wonderful. Yeah. Okay.
And so, that just once I do so, then I just have this immense amount of freedom to be however I need to be or however I want to be, which I try not to put too much thought into because just, been down that spiral a few times.
Totally.
But it is so elemental to what is authentic to me. And I find that it is what is most effective with other people, and especially in communication, which is something that is near and dear to my heart. And I believe the key to what this world actually is wanting and needing.
Yeah.
So I can rattle off any way you want to go, but what do you hear?
I'm actually hearing something in that. And what I want to hear more about is when or how. I think it's more of a how. And if the when comes up, that's great. But how did you discover that authenticity and effectiveness were your current value set? What came up for you and how did that present itself so that you kind of just knew that that's what we're about?
So the effectiveness is rather new.
Okay.
And that's been kind of in the last 2 years as a result of not being effective and really just putting out all my effort into something, and things that didn't pan out, didn't go the way I saw them going. Right. And so now that's the latest, what's now present and what I'm valuing, such that I can grow myself into that realm.
Right.
And, underneath this, I think what we could say is what I value is transformation of me.
Yeah.
Right. Of really just finding myself grow, looking back at myself, knowing that like, I was 100% different in this realm. And now I can see things coming a mile away, and I know how to like, I'm just going to sidestep that thing.
Totally.
Right.
That's so true. And, I love that, because what I'm hearing and what you're saying there is that the journey of self-discovery and recognizing what works, what doesn't work, what's effective, what's ineffective. I had a friend who used to ask that question every single day to herself. What's effective here? What's ineffective? And it was more for her own discovery of what was really helping her life be and feel better to her. And it sounds like that's kind of what you've dialed in too, is you've done a lot of things and you've played with a lot of Play-Doh, but you've discovered the most effective Play-Doh, the way to play with it, how you're going to do it in a way that really works for you. It may or may not work for somebody else the same way, because that's their Play-Doh and their journey, but you found your recipe. Say a little bit more about how you see authenticity playing in with that journey to the recipe of effectiveness. They're a tied together thing in my mind.
Absolutely. Yeah. No. So I think you said it already, really, but it is through that journey of being ineffective for what I wanted, and finding out, one, I had to be communicating. I had to have other people to essentially get what it is that I was wanting. Noticing that being inauthentic, manipulating, and doing all the other things I was doing were not effective.
Didn't work.
Right. And I'll say it was effective to something in some degree, but I wanted to go further or deeper, however you want to look at it. I wanted more. And whatever, authenticity was the only answer to that. And such that
that's beautiful.
Authenticity, being real for what's me, was like the first step in me getting comfortable in uncomfortable situations, which I guess at some point I knew I just have to have if I was going to understand things I didn't understand.
Yeah.
Right. And so fundamentally, it's about being whole and complete with me.
Yeah.
So that I could represent myself out there.
Right.
And I guess I just had that internal intuition to know I needed that first, which is where the rise in authenticity came.
I love that.
And that's what now I'd say that there's a point I want to say too, is that you brought up that I found my mix, and my mix is not what your mix is.
Exactly.
And it's so important for us to recognize and appreciate other people's mixes. But also you and I share something in that we help people. We have our own formulas for how people discover what's magic for them.
Their mix, their magic. Exactly. Yeah. What's been really fun, Brian, I'm going to digress shortly, but we're going to come right back. Just recently, I've been dialing in my own mix for my health and well-being. What do I eat? What is the recipe that for me works? And, there's a million quote unquote diets or ways of eating out there. And I'm not over exaggerating when I say a million, because I think every single person I've talked to has their own version of keto, paleo, carnivore, pick it. There are so many different ways that you could create your own, right? Mm-hmm. And what I found for me is that I had to get really straight with myself, authentically real with myself about, but how do I want to eat? What's the experience that I want to create? That was an eye-opener for me, because it's easy to follow a prescription or a list of things that someone gives you in a book for about 30 days. And then the next thing you notice, you're off in the sticker bushes doing other things because that you value more highly. And you know this about me, one of my top 5 values of all time, never goes away, is fun. Well, it is not fun to eat a bowl full of green and nothing else. Yeah, I mean, that's not fun. There's no experience of that. So, do you know what I've been doing? I've created some fun recipes of my own using a Vitamix and some spice to create fun out of a bowl of greens.
Yeah. Good. Yeah. Make it your own, right?
Right. I wasn't going to eat it on a plate with a little bit of balsamic vinegar, So what I'm saying and what I'm noticing going back, there's authenticity and then there's effective. What was not effective was me trying to fit someone else's protocol. But when I authentically found the thing that was most important to me, food needs to be fun or social or some other, then it became, I know what to do with that. I know how to do this, and I'm still going to create some kind of drive-through that's nothing but good food. And if anybody's listening out there that wants to work on a new franchise, I'm in on this one. I got to tell you, because I would drive through every day if it was fun. Why do people go?
I think you got a whole new market there.
I do.
So this is something I've been hypothesizing is, all humans, we have desire, right?
Yes.
We have to have a desire to exist.
Right.
And such that, but all desire leads to an experience that we want.
Yeah.
Right. And all desire leading to that experience is really about if this happened, then I would get to be a certain way.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
And that being is something that you and I know can be constructed with the mind without the external reality.
Yep.
But if everybody wants something just to be something else, right? They're just going about it backwards.
Correct. You got to be first.
Yeah. And therefore, what we're aligning on inside of being authentic is you just get to be you.
I know.
Right? Which is always the advice you get from your parents and everybody growing up is just be yourself. But as a kid, you don't know what that means. Right? Like, be myself, sure.
Yeah. I know. What does that mean?
What is it for you? How does it that you find either through your clients or your kids or for yourself? I'm curious, how do you know in this guess and check methodology, or what is it that you use to actually determine what's real for you?
That's awesome. And that's a really great question for everyone to ask, right? Is how do you know? But I can tell you what I've learned. And there's probably more than three, but these are the three primary things that I notice. First of all, do I notice in my physical system that it feels good? If it feels better or more satisfying or more calming in some way, it's probably the right way to go, or the thing that is more aligned to my truth. And that's an internal guidance system that I've had since my 20s. And thankfully had coaches and mentors along the way that could help me really dial that in. So I'm very grateful for that. Okay. Number two, I also think, am I learning something from this? So sometimes it may not feel real good, but I can go, ooh, interesting what I'm learning. My mind gets engaged instead of my, if you will, my physical body. The mind goes, that's kind of interesting. What's that about? Okay. And then the third thing is it good for others? And what that means to me, I'm just very much a person who my entire dharma is about being in service to others. And without, over giving, without giving up myself. So being clear about that, but just, I know I'm in service to humanity. That's just what I was designed for. So I know if I'm doing something, it's in service to someone else. I'm feeling good about it. And I'm probably learning something about it. That is a spot on, bam, got to go that direction. And sometimes it is more frightening. It is more unknown. It's like just talking about, oh yeah, maybe I should create a little franchise of, healthy food drive-through. That would be scary as hell for me. I don't know anything about doing that. But there is a part of me that says, that would really be in service to all the people like me who want to eat well and who like to drive or who are on the go a lot. And rather than, you know what I'm saying? So those kinds of ideas creep in and it becomes a place of discovery. And discovery is a powerful word and value for me.
Yeah, actually, now I want to talk about discovery.
Okay. Well, let's
So,
discover. What about that?
yeah, well, I'm here to discover something.
I know.
Um, and that is that, I guess I want to hear what is in discovery that is so enticing and attractive, and like curiosity is kind of like this element about it, but not really. Sometimes it just happens. You're just aware now of this new thing. You've discovered it. And there's just, for me, there's no more powerful experience than discovery.
Yes.
Frankly, because it shifts what life is for you, depending
Yes.
on what you've discovered. But nothing else, being told it, none of that means anything until you've discovered it. So,
Yeah.
what do you say about that?
I love what you're talking about. And it's right. I mean, my heart just goes boom, boom, because it's like, that is so what I'm about, really. When you think about why I created Earth.University, it is the place to discover the passion and purpose that one might have, and discovering self and what we are meant to be is the most powerful discovery you could ever have. I mean, sure, it's kind of cool to find a new spice or maybe a new land or even discover a new planet. That would be cool stuff, right? That's altering our mindset or the way we think. Discovering the self, the being that we are, is so much fun. And oh my gosh, it's right in your own living room. You don't have to change environments to actually discover. Yeah. There's another aspect to it. And I like the creator aspect that comes from discovery. So I feel very comfortable in a world of the unknown. Meaning, if someone said to me, okay, you now live in a box and you're going to have to invent the world that you will live in. Oh, nothing more exciting than the creation of what could be. Okay, that is the sign or the mark of an imaginal. And we talk about this at Earth.University, that when you're going from caterpillar to butterfly, the first cells that come out of the goo are the ones that can imagine the butterfly. The caterpillars never even understood a butterfly, let alone had to create one, build the world that the butterfly lives in, what does it like to eat, all that stuff. None of it makes any sense. That's discovery. It's sitting in the unknown and going, what would I like it to be? That's the fun part. You are doing that in your world, in your career, in your life. What would I like it to be? What's more effective? What's more engaging? What's more aligned with the experience I'm creating? That's discovery.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
And in the elements of discovery, what has to be there for you, or what do you see? Is there any like rhyme or reason to it?
That's a great question. It's like, sort of, how does a person, and I'll say myself, but maybe think about this for yourself too. And I'd love to hear you share this. What do I do when I go into discovery mode? Let's just call it. I'm not lifing along anymore. I'm not, how many times have we walked up to the refrigerator and known I want, carrots and a banana or whatever? Then we open the door, we pull out the carrots and the banana. But how many times we go, what's in here? What can I create with the stuff that's in here? Because I don't really know what I'm hungry for. That, I believe, is more often than not what people do. And I use food as an example, but it's something we can all relate to. Yeah. When was the last time we went into discovery mode with a lover versus, this is what I'm supposed to do. This is how it works for him or her, or whatever. And, discovery is like, whoa, new opportunity. What could we do that would be interesting, different, create a different sensation, whatever that is? That's discovery. Slightly different than curiosity. Curiosity has more of an intent behind it. Like, I'm curious, what will happen if I pour the water on this computer? Well, we're about to find out, right? Yeah. Discovery is more, I don't even know, but you follow the moment and you go with the moment. It's more of an intuitive sensation.
Okay.
What did you hear?
Well, I heard that being present is a really big part of the moment, or
Nice.
I think sometimes maybe it's just aware of this context that you haven't been aware of, right? And sometimes that can happen in a moment, but sometimes it happens in reflection.
Yeah.
So I'm curious how that kind of plays in a little bit. But I love the distinction between curiosity. I think that rings true for me. Like it has an intent. You have a focus or a lens that you're looking through. Whereas in discovery, either you don't know you have a lens, or your lens is wide open, right?
This is a great distinction. If I can just point this out, discovery is more like a 5-year-old. Curiosity is more like a researcher who's already gone through some stuff. Maybe it's a 30-year-old. Right? I mean, just to put it into context, a 5-year-old goes, what does that do? It's discovery all day long. But a 30-year-old has some kind of curiosity around, I wonder if I change my careers, what would happen? Or what would happen? They contemplate or assign lenses, filters to the information coming more. So that was a beautiful connection point you just made.
Okay, got it. Yeah. And so inside of discovering, like I think I'm more about curiosity, or I have a more directed focus around what it is that I'm open to.
Yeah.
But then, like, I need people like you to just keep expanding that, right? And whatever narrow I think I know, but I'm well aware that there are many things I don't know. Right?
Right.
But that doesn't mean anything for my day-to-day experience.
Right.
Okay. And so
I love
inside of my own discovery, I'm always open to hearing what's there over there. Like what is it that if you were going to communicate something to me, what is it that I should hear?
Yeah.
Because I know that there's many things I'm not hearing, but every once in a while I get a brief opportunity to ask the question with the really intent earnestness to say, I'm listening. What do you want to say?
Yeah. That's beautiful.
What do you say?
What I say is there's a very simple way to just be what you are. Look in the mirror and ask the question, and you will get the answer back. Every time. If you're willing to listen.
Yeah. Yeah. So the question that just came to me is, I need to go ask the mirror.
Yeah.
What's the question that I want to know?
Yes, exactly. Well, and I think there is a great quote about that. I don't remember it exactly, but it is about the best questions in life are the ones that are the right questions. It's not the answers.
Yeah.
It's the questions,
Absolutely.
And there is more to life that is about question. And discovery is about finding the recipe for effectiveness. It's about discovering and understanding, well, what just happened? What happens when people are inauthentic? Instead of this is where my largest amount of compassion and unconditional love has come from, is recognizing that, wow, that person is on a journey of discovering that that's not an effective thing, and they're not being authentic. And it's like, ooh, I can love them for being right in that space, because we've all been there. Every human has gone through that transition at some point or another. And it's like, whoa. So when you see somebody, right, who's being inauthentic or who's horribly ineffective, which we've all done, it's the compassion for, interesting. Isn't that cool? Yeah. They're about to break through. They'll find out that it didn't work when the next thing happens that either breaks or doesn't come together or whatever. And that's the space of discovery and openness to what's next. And I know that's who I love to work with, is the ones who are on that journey to discovering more about what's working in here and what's creating what's out there. And if you want it to be different, the only place to look is right here. There's nowhere else to go.
Yeah, spot on.
So
I think this is a great segue into my latest passion project.
Ooh, let's hear about it. Okay.
And so this is, I've never been a writer. I never considered myself a good writer. I always was kind of like, no, I'm better in person. I speak, put me in front of the stage, like I'm in. But writing, it's not my thing. I always get too caught up. I always analyze my words too much. I jump over myself. I'm not being authentic. That's generally how writing's been for me. And I took on just writing a little bit here and there because I wanted to write songs for my daughter. I wanted to figure this out, and then I started doing a little object writing, blah, blah, blah. So writing started being like an experience.
Cool.
And then I realized that what's been coming forth for some time and what I've wanted to create is the universal inquiry that can bring people step by step, like Socrates through logic. And just here is the path a human being will find themselves most fulfilled.
Wow.
And that inquiry, of course, it's somewhat guided in the question. The question always forms a context, but you are the only one who can answer it.
Yes, exactly.
And that's where all the magic is.
You're right. Oh, that's beautiful. I love that project. Yeah.
Yeah.
I would be glad to help with that.
Yeah, well, you are. And thus we shall right now. Which I'm curious, if we were going to just start anywhere you wanted to start with the people you wanted to work with, what is the question that they should be able to either answer or they want to start with?
These are, I think one of the questions they need to be able to answer is, actually, let me back that up. Before I ask the question, it's more of a self awareness that they are willing to have the answer to this question. Okay, so first you have to be willing to have the answer. The question is, what am I so passionate about that I would go do it no matter what? What am I here to do? What is my dharma? What is my current experience of life that is meant to be in service to others that truly fulfills my heart? And there are a lot of people who don't know the answer to that question. And that's okay. That's part of what I'm here to do, is to be like a purpose doula, bring it forward, give birth to it by asking a lot of questions and looking at a lot of elements of life. Right?
The purpose doula. So
I just made that up on the fly. Sorry for those of you who might be pregnant with
I like midwife a little better, but
no, maybe so. Maybe midwife. Okay, sorry. Yeah, but you get the idea. And I think that's what I fundamentally believe, is that we all have a purpose, a mission. Maybe it's not, it's a thread. Okay. So it's like people get hung up on purpose means, my purpose is to change the way that humans treat their eyeballs. Okay, great. That's a beautiful purpose. But what you do to fulfill on that purpose is to stay in a place of fulfillment as long as you can along the journey. It's not the destination ever. That we all check out of this Earth.University at some point when we pass over to the other side. And maybe we come back, maybe we don't. Some people believe we do. I think we do. Mothers may not think that. That's okay. But you've got this journey, this exploratory journey to your dharma, to your purpose. Why not enjoy finding clues along the way and staying in fulfillment in that journey, as opposed to being derailed, sidetracked, unhappy, unfulfilled, and getting to the end of the road going, crap, I wish I would have done that when I was 32.
Yeah.
Which I can say.
So the next question then is one I know from my own life. I look back and I have to have the duality. I have to have the experience of not being fulfilled to know what fulfillment is. And that's the good news, is if you're not there, great. Then you know how to point yourself to get there. And then you get there and then find out, wait, you're not fulfilled still, right? it's kind of a never-ending battle, right? Or
yeah,
it doesn't have to be a battle, but it can
right.
be any context of just an experience that you have to have both, right?
You must. You cannot know joy unless you've known despair.
Right.
They are opposites, and we live in the world of duality in this experience we're having. And so what I often will say to myself, not to be Pollyanna, but because I've been through the despair and other things along the journey that have been less than fun, we'll say, I can always recognize when in the middle of it that it's like, oh, goody, I get to now know the other side of this. And when I say the other side, I mean, there's the opposite of this that I get to now know, because I just went through that knothole of, right? So having someone, giving birth is a really great example of this. I hated being pregnant and I didn't want to do it again, but I had 2 kids, sorry, Jaren, I had to say that, but he knows it's true. And I love my children and I would never trade them for anything. And that process of going through the pain, the emotional, the hormonal, all the imbalance, the insanity that the body goes, Gah! I hated it. But what was on the other side of it was everything. Like, so worth all of it by a magnitude of 100,000. So that's what I mean. If you're stuck somewhere, really stuck, just know that when you get unstuck, it's going to feel so clear. You're going to go, whoa, I know exactly what to do. Because that is what happens. You get to know the other side. And it's really kind of fun to see it as that. So anyway, I don't know if I went off in the weeds, but I know that our time is coming to a close. And I really want people to know, the Brian Ray, who you can tell just literally took over the entire interview and started asking me questions instead of me asking him. That's the guy he is authentically. And he's beautiful in every way. Like, if you want to meet somebody who's going to know how to serve you in getting what you want, this is the guy, because he knows how to ask all of those crazy questions all the time. And I love it.
Yeah.
Brian, you're amazing.
Well, thank you, friend. Every time I get to talk with you, I'm expanded, and thus anytime.
It's wonderful. Well, and I think we've shared with some folks today the beauty of being authentic. Just be what you are, and effectiveness. Please comment in the comment box below if you found something really effective about this modality, because Brian and I like to do this sort of stuff a lot. And I want people to know how to get in touch with you. So what would be the best way?
Sure. Well, any social media platform, LinkedIn or Facebook.
Okay.
And then email. And I'm sure you'll put it in the show notes, right? I'm
going to put it in the show notes, and it'll be all there for you to connect. But Brian is just an amazing human. And if you have any ideas for questions to put in his universal guide to finding self, was that what you called it? Something like that?
It's actually the undeniable logic of universal alignment.
Ooh, very good. Sounds beautiful. Reach out and help Brian and show him the way. And just a real quick, closing remark. What kind of clients do you like to work with, Brian, in your senior home?
In business, we work with seniors and their families who don't have the time, energy, money, or know-how to renovate their home for maximum sale.
Awesome.
And really, that's kind of like my specialty, but we have a network of tax professionals, real estate agents, attorneys, and placement agents. Any problems that seniors are having, 60 and older generally, we want to solve their problems. And generally it comes down to just providing clarity and confidence. That's really what our benefits are. So
awesome.
If you or your parents or your grandparents need some help in any way, we'd love to serve and see how it is that we can serve them.
I think it's beautiful. And they do need, there's a lot of them that do need that service. So woohoo! Thank you for doing that. Yay.
Absolutely.
Well, Brian Ray, it's always a pleasure to talk with you. I hope to have you again as another Passion Professor conversation. We have more to talk about.
Always. It's always a discovery.
Right. Always a discovery. And for all of you who are listening, please like, subscribe, share, do whatever you need to. to get the word out that everyone is a passion professor and you're all part of our house of wisdom. So we'd love to hear more from you, and we'd love to read your comments. So thanks so much. And hear your passion, all of it. Yay!
Yeah. Not at all.
Okay, ta-ta for now.